imprisoned in a detention center for over a year just for eating dumplings without soy sauce. This absurdity is beyond belief. Is it illegal to eat dumplings without dipping them in soy sauce? You would surely dismiss this as a ridiculous question. I eat my dumplings in whatever I please. What law could that possibly violate? Yet, Wang Yuan, a businessman from Guangdong, was detained in a detention center for over a year for precisely this reason, eating his dumplings without soy sauce. What on earth happened? In 1991, Wang Yuan traveled north from Guangdong to negotiate a business deal, but the negotiations ultimately fell through. Feeling dejected, he went to a restaurant alone for dinner that evening and ordered a plate of hand-torn mutton and some dumplings. As people from Guangdong tend to prefer lighter flavors, he ate his dumplings without adding any condiments. Coincidentally, a group of police officers from a local detention center were dining in a private room nearby, celebrating a superior's promotion. The superior, having had a bit too much to drink, headed to the restroom. On his way there, he passed Wang Yuan. Noticing that Wang was eating his dumplings without soy sauce, and observing that he did not look like a local, the officer rudely demanded, "Why aren't you dipping your dumplings in soy sauce? Show some respect for local customs." Baffled by the question, Wang Yuan retorted indignantly, "We Southerners don't use dipping sauces with our dumplings. What business is that of yours?" The officer, accustomed to having his word treated as law, had never suffered such an affront. However, he felt he couldn't make a scene in front of everyone, so he swallowed his anger and retreated to the private room. Seeing his agitation, his subordinates immediately asked what was wrong. One of them, eager to curry favor, offered a harebrained suggestion. "How dare outsider talk back to you like that? Let's arrest him, lock him up in the detention center for the night, and teach him a lesson." Incredibly, the superior actually nodded in agreement to this absurd idea. Citing suspicious behavior as their pretext, they arrested Wang Yuan and hauled him off to the detention center. Once inside, the other inmates asked Wang Yuan why he had been arrested. Feeling utterly wronged, he replied, "Because I ate my dumplings without dipping them in soy sauce." Naturally, no one believed him. Convinced he must have committed some serious crime, he was too afraid to admit. They proceeded to give him a sound beating. The next day, after sobering up, the officer who had ordered the arrest completely forgot about the entire incident. Since their superior had issued no further orders regarding the matter, the other police officers dared not release Wang Yuan. And just like that, Wang Yuan found himself inexplicably locked up in a detention center for nearly 2 years. During his incarceration, prison guards occasionally asked him why he was there. He invariably gave the same explanation. Everyone assumed he was feigning insanity, so no one bothered with him anymore. It wasn't until 2 years later when local judicial authorities conducted a review of wrongful detention cases that they discovered Wang Yuan's case had absolutely no official records. Only then did they summon him for questioning. When Wang Yuan explained that he had been arrested simply for eating dumplings without dipping them in soy sauce, the interrogating officers suspected he was mentally ill. It was only after a psychiatric evaluation confirmed his mental competence that they realized this was, in fact, a gross miscarriage of justice. The judicial authorities immediately released Wang Yuan. The detention center's leadership arrived bearing gifts and apologies, hoping to settle the matter quietly with a monetary payout, but Wang Yuan refused. He was determined to seek true justice. In the autumn of 1993, Wang Yuan took the relevant authorities to court. The case caused a massive uproar in the local community. The officials directly involved along with their accomplices were all dismissed from their posts. A large number of cadres across the public security, procuratorial, and judicial sectors were demoted, and Wang Yuan ultimately received 240,000 yuans in state compensation. Isn't this whole affair utterly absurd? A mere difference in dietary habits coupled with the arrogance, high-handedness, and abuse of power by a few rogue officials resulted in a wrongful imprisonment lasting nearly 2 years. Power is bestowed by the people. It exists to serve the public and uphold fairness and justice, not to gratify personal desires or oppress the citizenry. Those law enforcement officers who casually order arrests over drinks at a banquet only to completely forget about them afterward will ultimately find there is no escaping the severe penalties of the law. What are your thoughts on this case? Feel free to share your views in the comments section below.